Good morning. It is Thursday, and I am truly just getting in. Unfortunately, last night was a very long night. You know what it is. I am Jackie Glass, Mama, Navy vet, certified doer, and your delegate. We are laced up today. We are ready to go. What a day, what a day. How exciting. Good morning. How I know you be here, huh? I'm over here watering flowers. What I need you to do is make sure you water yourself too, because you are a flower. Get your water, okay? We're going to take care of these flowers and you're going to take care of yourself. So what I wanted to do today is at a very minimum, give you guys a synopsis of like the last week, how it is super varsity. Good morning, Stephen. Good morning, Cliff. These days are really varsity. I think I talked about this a couple of days ago. Something that is like probably the one of the, it's high on the list. I don't know if it's number one, but one of the most important things that we do as your state legislators is we pick judges. We pick judges for our circuit court, our general court, for our family and children's court. I mean, juvenile and domestic court. What do I say? We pick judges. And yesterday was Judge Day. And I'm going to tell you, I was overwhelmed with like, not with doing the job, y'all, but with like, this is a real serious decision. Like, selecting judges is no joke. If you're in our communities, we know that the judicial system has plays a major role in the in economically advancing communities, Black communities, not low income, but all in families, in you know, in holding people accountable. Like, that's not a small thing. And so I'm going to ask you, what? Now, we done already picked our judges, and I'm going to talk about the process. But while I tell you about the process, I would like to know from you, if you were given the weight, the responsibility, the duty to select judges for our city, what are the top 3 things that you would consider when selecting a judge? And you drop it in the comments, like, what would you be considering? Because that's what I did not necessarily get to be a part of the initial process because I got elected the day before. But what would you consider? Would it be attributes? Would you look at their judicial history? Would you look at their community involvement? What is important to you in a judge? Because I think that would vary from person to person. So here's how the judge process works. Every city has a delegation, or every area, or however the courts are set up. In district court, they have a delegation. And so what happened was the Norfolk delegation of both senators and delegates, they met and they got a list of people that were up to be a judge. Now, for our delegation, again, delegation being your state level legislators, they met back in December and they took a look at this list, right? They're looking at this list of people. And so I still have to find out, like, who curates that list? What is that on that list? Good morning. Good morning, Cornell. Yes, please drop in the comments what you would be looking for in a judge. What would be the attribute or the quality, or what would you research? Would it be their judicial history or whatever? So we get this list, and I don't know necessarily who curates that list or what qualifies a person to be eligible to be on the list to be a judge. But we get this list of people. The delegation talks it out, and then they decide who they're going to nominate to the state level legislators to become judges. Now, obviously, this happens once a year because the process, once each delegation determines who their nominees are, Then we come into session. That's when we come into the next phase of it. Some delegations wait until they convene here, right? Because we're a smaller city. Like, you got places like Prince William County where there's like, or Fairfax, where there's like 10 or 15 people, 10 or 15 delegates and senators that have to get together, so they wait till they're here. At Norfolk next year, our Norfolk delegation will be, when we get our new maps, because we're waiting on that 1, 2, 3, 4, I think we'll be a delegation of 5. We'll have 1 senator and then 4 delegates, or maybe 5 or 6, because I think there's some districts that have a tiny piece of Norfolk, but I think most of the new redistricting kept things whole. Denise said track record, type of history, prosecution, attributes, community involvement. Yeah, life proximity to minorities, education. Yup, a centrist. Yeah, and it's so. What's fascinating too is not only do we pick these district courts, we have to select the Supreme Court nominees, and there are 2 of those this year. We'll be putting 2 new people on the Virginia Supreme Court. But anyway, so we make our nominations. Those nominations go in. Now yesterday, which was Judge Day, which it was a long day because we have to stop and start, and I'll tell you why we do that. But there's we have our first bill or first resolution, because it's a resolution to say we're going to do first resolution. It says that, hey, we have all these seats available across the Commonwealth, and it'll say exactly what it is. We're the 4th district. So it was like we have one district. Hold on. Let me make sure I'm saying what we had yesterday. I was pressed. I was like, this feels heavy. This feels like we doing something major here. We had 1 general court and I think 2 circuit courts. Let me pull it up. I don't want to tell if it. And then no family and law court or whatever. So we had, it'll say all of these positions are available, right? All of these are what we have available to put. So we agree. Everybody votes on it. We say, hey, yes, we have these openings in our courts. We agree on it. We tell the Senate, we take our resolution that we voted on, and it goes across to the Senate, and the Senate agrees, or I think we wait for the Senate, they give it to us, and then we vote too, and everybody's in agreement. So the 2 chambers are going back and forth on the judge thing because we all have to sort of agree. So then after we do that, we have to wait, and then we get a listing, and it'll be the general court, circuit court, family, juvenile, and domestic court. Those are the 3. There's 3 separate resolutions, and it has the listings across the Commonwealth on each one. Who for general court, who's for circuit court, and who's for juvenile and domestic court. I hope I'm saying that right. And then we vote. And so what happens is you'll find sometimes, like yesterday, some delegations will have people, like maybe those things you value, like the person's proximity to minorities wasn't the way you want it to be, or maybe they have a judicial record that doesn't necessarily gel with what you would willingly vote for. What happens is you can say, I want to pull somebody's name out of the block, right? And so when you pull that person's name out of the block, because voting on judges is done in a block vote, and I think I talked to you guys about this. A block vote is where it's like a butt ton of items in one bill, one resolution. So we're not voting on each district court one by one. We're doing a block vote. So you got to look at that resolution, look at all the names. I'm only looking for the 4th district, right? Looking for Norfolk, and I read and I see the names and I go from there. But you can pull a name out so that you cannot vote on it. So if there's somebody that I'm like, hey, our delegation agreed on it, but I'm not voting for that person, I just I tell them to pull that name out of the block and I don't vote on them. Or maybe I have a personal relationship with somebody or something, and I'm like, I don't want to vote. I don't want to be a vote on that, or I'm going to abstain. You can pull it out of the block. For Norfolk, I will tell you guys who actually were the judges that we voted in yesterday. But that's an important piece, and I think we'll be doing, I'm not sure when we'll be doing the Supreme Court judges, but yeah, conservative judges rule would be an immediate red flag. Clinton, immediate, maybe for our district, it's just, that's the thing about these districts is that you'll see their different values, and I think I've said this some of the other folks that are within on the same aisle, the other side of the aisle, is that we're not going to agree on everything. Fundamentally, we come from different places and different lived experiences. There's not, we're not going to agree on everything, but that's a heavy weight. And so what I want to do next year, there are some localities or some delegations that allow the public to see who's on the list. Like they have public comment about the people on the list, because what happens is like I was listening to another delegation, and like, we got all these emails about this specific judge doing this, and this, and then they pull them because they got too much feedback from, they try to, we should be weighing, those who have come before the judge and things like that. We should be weighing those things. So there's that, where if we don't know the process, like if you don't know the process by which we select these judges, how would you know to say, hey, I've consistently had an issue, or the community or anybody that comes to this person as when they're a lawyer or whatever they are, or maybe they're a judge that's being advanced to a new position, that we don't think that they should go, you have a right to let us know. Good morning. So Denise said, I work with Judge Jones and Judge Doyle. They are fair with their ruling. Wonderful to work with them. Yeah, like not all judges are bad judges, but like not all judges are created equal. You know what I mean? So that's that. So if you are interested in that, or you're like, I think that process, at least for, I don't know what our delegation, we'll see next year how that works out. So there's that. Over the next, we are on day 58, which means I only have 2 more days up here in the General Assembly. We'll be working Friday and we'll be working Saturday, because guess what, y'all? The budget ain't over. So I remember we talked about the budget like last week or the week before. They're all running together. Because the House and the Senate have not agreed on a budget, we both tried to say, hey, maybe you should do this, maybe you should do that, or rejected these different pieces of each other's budget. There's a thing called a conference, right? And the conference, those people on each side that deal with the budget, have been working really late days and nights to try to come to an agreement between the House and the Senate on what our budget is going to look like for the next year. And from what we know, it's not really close. So 100% sure that we will be here on Saturday until we get to an agreement on the budget, because let me tell you something that was super interesting. We actually vote on compensation for wrongfully convicted people. Now this year, I promise you, there were like 7 different names of wrongly convicted folks, and we get to determine, we vote on how much money they get for their wrongful conviction. And there's a formula that is used, and I'm interested in this formula. I've already told the folks I was like, well, how do we determine this formula? But that money is in the budget. The money that we pay out to folks that have been wrongfully, it's in the budget. The Senate wanted to pay folks, like one was like, I'm just using an example. The Senate was like, we need to pay them $6 million. This is just an example, but it's not real numbers. We need to pay them $6 million. The House is like, no, we need to pay them $2 million, right? And so we had to reject. The House rejected, or most of the House rejected the amendment that the Senate made, and now they have to go to the table and decide, all right, for this item in the budget, are we going to pay them $2 million, or are we going to pay them $6 million? And those people have to get together, and that's real money playing with real people's lives and real convictions. So like, it's a real process that I think the money tells all the story, all the things. And stepping a little bit back to the judges piece, we just voted on a bill that allows, and I'm pulling up the judges that were, so that you guys know who we just selected or approved to be judges for the 4th District Court. That's what Norfolk is. I'm going to pull that up so that I can tell you who the judges are we selected. But we just voted on a bill that allows people to electronically make complaints against or judges. So like if you have an issue with a judge, you will be able to do that make your complaint online. I see you turning me, Conrad. Yes, MEAC, they narrowly won, right? Narrowly made it through there, through the MEAC tournament. Is anybody attending the MEAC? Anybody going? Anyone? I've never been to a MEAC. Don't say nothing. Don't do it. I will. It won't be this year because we working. But anybody had been paying attention to what's going on? Shout out to Maury, yo. Y'all know that we got to keep these kids lifted. Behold, get it. All right, I should be able to get these. Yes. Let me see if I can find the judges bill. So yeah, we I had the names here, and I want to share. Yes, that's right, Carrie. Go Calm. Yeah, Maury Wells beating the Salem football team for years. That's it. That's what we do over here. Like, we win. To say it. Y'all, Petersburg. Listen, the Petersburg basketball team, and shout out to Chioma, always representing all the way from Petersburg. They were here in the gallery the other day, and Maury, I was reminded by Carrie, who comes up and interns with us. I say intern because she grown. Interns with us Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and is here supporting. But we gonna beat y'all. We're going to. That is going to happen. These names, it's I think Robert Renatus, Jamila Dela. Dang it, y'all! It's gonna haunt me. Winners. All right, here are the judges that we appointed or that we elected yesterday in the General Assembly. So for Circuit Court, Robert Rigney was selected, right? Circuit Court, Robert Rigney. I don't know if you know him, but if you do, that's him. For District Court, we selected Jamila De La Cruz and Leandra Webster. So they're going to be our new District and Circuit Court judges. See, I was saying that wrong earlier. I was saying General and something court, whatever. But those are Robert Rigney, Jamila De La Cruz, and Leandra Webster. Right? Leandra Webster. So today on the agenda, we're going to be finishing up going through bills. I have one bill, y'all, that is the House and the Senate disagreed on, so I have to work really hard. I get this little committee conference report, and you can see, right? I have to take this around to all three to the Senate and to the House people to have them agree so that my bill does not get killed. Because if I don't get them to agree on the edits to the bill, then it dies. This is the one that talks about forfeited assets, says that acknowledges that police can use forfeited assets for community investment. So if there's one bill that I really wanted to pass, it's this one. Actually, I really wanted the fake documents one to pass too. But this is a big deal. So today, that'll be like not my primary job, but one of the primary things that I'll be doing, that I will be doing today. Also, let's see what I have for you all. There's some community items that I had. I definitely, just to keep everybody in the know, next week I will be out of pocket. I'm going to be sort of recouping, getting my life right. However, if the budget doesn't get done by Saturday, just managing expectations, if the budget doesn't get done by Saturday, then I will have to come back next week. And we'll have to vote on it, because any bill that we have, because remember we talked about this, the budget is a bill. Any bill that we have has to sit for 48 hours, right, before we can actually vote on it. So it sits a day, right? That's the first reading. It sits another day. That's the second reading. And then we vote on it on the third day, right? It has to be on the calendar for 48 hours before we can actually vote on it. So if it doesn't get done on Saturday, which it's very likely that it won't get done, because we are the worlds apart, just by nature of the two chambers having different ideologies about budgeting, right? You have a Republican House and a Democratic Senate. Their ideologies are very different on fiscal responsibility, or how we spend or don't spend money. It's going to be a push and pull. And if we have to come back next week, we have to come back next week. That's what you guys elect us to do. It's a responsibility. So instead of saying I have to come back next week, I get to come back next week. If they are not able to make, to come to terms on things, and we will vote. And we will vote hopefully for the best budget for you all. Yes, the art of a divided government. Absolutely. It doesn't fall deaf on me that in the Commonwealth, it's just like when our, the way we used to elect presidents and vice presidents is that you can have presidents and vice presidents, or governors and lieutenant governors from different parties. That's how the system was originally set up. But you can thank good old Jefferson for this two-party system of saying, I don't care, I'm going to pick my vice president. Do you know what I'm saying? I think it makes us work together more. I think it truly does make us sort of have to find some common ground, whereas the executive branch is Republican, right? But you got a Democratic House and a Republican Senate. You have to find a way to work together, because someone's going to stop someone, or someone's going to have a different ideology. And that's the nature of checks and balances, which is a beautiful thing. So while our democracy, and let me stop lying, our republic, because we don't live in a democracy, while a republic is far from perfect, it does give us an opportunity to be a part. And that's why we do this every Tuesday and Thursdays, because I need you guys to know what's up. Because if you don't, then you can't properly hold me accountable for what I'm doing if you don't even know the scope of what I'm supposed to be up here doing. And as I learn and grow into this role of getting a better understanding of what it is that I'm doing, or what it is that I'm charged with doing, and articulate that to you, I think that we are going to do a better job for our city. That's right, because we need each other. All right, I'm going to shut up. I started late, but I'm going to hush up, and I'm going to pause for a second to see if there are any questions, comments, concerns about anything, about the judge process, about budgeting. I know we talked a lot about that today. Is there anything going on in the community you feel like folks need to know? You can drop it in the comments. I want to thank you guys for taking your mornings and just showing up. I don't know what y'all be doing at 6:30 in the morning. What you doing up? But I'm grateful that we get this time, this space and place. So I'll pause for a second. Is there a place where we can get a summary of bills? The best place I would tell you to go to, it's ILS. Hold on, and I'm going to get the whole website. ILS.virginia.gov, right? And if you go to ILS, and that's Lima, India, Sierra, and that stands for Legislative Information System, ILS.virginia.gov, Chioma. You can look up bills, all the bills, and get sort of each individual summary. You can do it by the person that brought the bills forward. You can do it by the committee, right? Say like how you're really into privileges and elections. You can look at the committee. You can do it by subject, like type in criminal justice or type in housing, or you can do it by the day. Like, you know that it got approved last Friday, or the most frequently accessed. I'm going to click that button for y'all real quick. Look at this one. The most frequently accessed bill for the 2022 session right now is school principals incident reports. That's House Bill 4. That school principal incident reports talks about, and I'll say what the summary is. I know what it's about. It is about school principals, requires that school principals report to law enforcement certain enumerated acts that may constitute a misdemeanor offense and report to the parents of any minor who is the specific object of such incident has been reported to law enforcement. That's the number one. And then the second one is obviously the budget. That's number 2. So ILS, thank you, Carrie, for dropping that in there, .virginia.gov. Okay. Carrie, how did your bill change or not with the amendments? How did my bill change? Okay. Here's what happened to my bill that is going to conference, which I'm really excited about. I'm about to get to work, right? My bill, in the House, they struck the language out that said community reinvestment or revitalization, because I'm just being honest with you. They don't want to hear them words. They don't want no buzzwords that have to do with any social justice or nothing like that. Or at least that's what I heard. If those words were in there, the bill is dead. However, there is language that says that creates goodwill, blah, 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 that speaks to what that is. So they struck that language. I went over to the Senate side, and when I was trying to carry, advocate for my bill when it went over to the Senate, I was talking to their folks on the Judiciary Committee, and I said, hey, here's my bill, here's what it does. I'm hoping that if you have any question, you can ask me, because I don't want them to kill my bill. So I was asked by several senators, why did you take this language out? Because this language adds clarity. I can define what community investment and revitalization is, but I cannot define goodwill, because it says or promotes goodwill within the community. And I said, hey, that's a good question. So they were like, we would like the language to go back in. Are you okay with that? And I said, I am. And so when I went to the committee, right, for the senators to hear my bill, they said I offered a friendly amendment to put it back in. So they struck it and put that language back in. And it came over to the House, and the House said, hey, if you accept these amendments, we're going to kill your bill. So I had to reject the amendments and then send it to conference. So we're going to take the bill as it is, right? Like, we're going to get it through. But the beauty of it all is that if we want to do more work on it, we can always come back next year and say we'd like to do more work on that particular bill. So that is how that change happened. But it didn't change the scope of the bill. The bill still outlines that that police can use money to use money from forfeited assets like drug money or whatever. Like when they sell auction cars, they can use that money to put back into a community. Okay, Conrad said, what center do you think you'd work best with in a situation like this? Can you be more specific? What situation like what? Like the bill piece, or I just need a little more clarity. I'm not sure what kind of situation you mean. And I will answer that. Yes, there is a tutorial. And while I wait on Conrad to put his question in, there is a tutorial on the website, delegatejackieglass.com, to teach you how to use LIS, because information is power. Knowledge is power. When we have these tools and we're able to speak from a place of knowledge, we get real dangerous, right, to the status quo, right? Really, really dangerous. So LIS is an amazing tool, and I hope that you all use it. What's so funny is, I just told y'all, I'm looking at my screen, I just told y'all number 1 was school incident reports, number 2 was the budget bill, number 3, the number 3 most accessed bill, you ready for this? Hunting on Sundays. We just approved a bill that allows folks to hunt on Sundays, only in places that it's already authorized to hunt. But yet folks were not allowed to hunt on Sundays. And after July 1, you can hunt on Sundays. Okay, so how can citizens get more involved at the Capitol other than being a lobbyist? how can you get more active at the Capitol? Oh, that's a good question. So I would say I would talk to, and this is me, right? Like, and I don't know if other legislators are the same way, but like Carrie, for instance, we have been so blessed with having her be able to come up and just be a part as an everyday citizen, just like, hey, I want to come up and I want to just help out and see how can I be helpful, because there's a lot of work to do. And to be quite honest, because we're so new, it's like we're trying to figure out like all the things that need to happen at once. So maybe schedule a day with your legislator to just kind of be a shadow or a service. Like Carrie said, you can organize a day where you say, hey, I'm bringing up the people in my community to expressly go to folks about this particular issue or these several issues. And I know that's still lobbying, but that plays a huge part. When we're sitting in these rooms, the question oftentimes gets asked, has anybody heard anything from their constituents, from their locality, from any organizations on this bill? We're looking for where people stand oftentimes, because here, when we hear things, the way stuff hits my ears, it may hit your ear in a very different way, and we can have a more full conversation about some of this stuff we're approving when we get your opinion. How else can you do get involved at the Capitol? Yeah, I'm going to sit with that, Chioma, if you allow me to sit with that, because that's really the two things that I can think of right now, but I'm sure there's other ways to get more involved, as a lobby, other than being a lobbyist. I'm 100% sure. Conrad, I didn't get your question on that particular issue. I don't know if you're still with us, but what situations I would be able to, what senators or whatever. If that's all your questions. Oh, yes, Carrie, yes. These committee meetings, y'all. And the great thing that, please understand, I mean this with all due respect. The great thing about COVID, okay, I'm not saying COVID was great, but one of the great things about COVID is that we found opportunities to allow people to show up without having to travel to Richmond. It's not just like about the people like me that are privileged that I can drive down an hour and a half, but there are people who are 4.5 hours away that are passionate about their issues that may not necessarily be able to hop in a car or have the bandwidth to get themselves to Richmond. So you can also testify at committee meetings virtually or in person, right? Like, come up and speak your piece, because there'll be some reckless bills or some really amazing bills and no one testifies for or against it. You don't get another perspective. But lobbying those folks before they get into that committee room is super important. And then showing up and saying, I support this bill or I don't. Like, it says a lot. I mean, sometimes people have their minds already made up, but it says a lot when you show up and say, even if you're just showing up to say, I strongly support this bill. Conrad, what I was wondering about is you said in these situations, what lobbying for my bill, what senator do you think you'd work best with in situations like this? Like, where I'm trying I say politic because I am a politician, right? Essentially, anybody that does this work that says they're not a politician is lying to themselves. It's not a dirty word. I'm in the business of policy making, and I thoroughly enjoy it. It just has been, had some negative connotations, but we can reshape that. I'll own the name, right, in its likeness, but we'll reshape the way people think. Conrad, and I think you're talking about with conferencing my bill, and if you just joined us conferencing, like I have to get both the House and the Senate to agree on the change to my bill. It really depends. This is the first time that I've gotten the opportunity to work with the Senate, so I don't have a senator that I can say is easier or less easier to, less easier. My husband would kill me for that language. Not literally, but he would just be like, woman, that is more difficult or more convenient to work with. I approach every single person with the same sort of energy and candor right now of like, here's where I'm coming from, here's what I'm trying to do. No matter what the what the situation is, I come with the same energy, right? And that's been really helpful. Even if I've heard things like, yo, when you go to that person, da 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 da. Well, here's what I make sure I always do is when I'm in the room, whether I have a lobbyist in the office or I'm walking around to senators, I always take another person with me, because you're in a moment, like I know that like I'm still taking a lot in. There's a lot. Every day has been a new experience. I feel like I'm in a classroom and I'm learning something every single day. So I try to take a second set of ears, unless I know it's a private conversation that it just needs to be me and that other person. I take a second set of ears with me so that we can digest what the conversation was and then move forward. Because I cannot be a single point of failure for your sake or for my sake. Okay? All right. Thank you for the questions. I appreciate it. It's Thursday. Have you drank water? You drink your water today? I'm looking at you. You drink your water. We are flowers. We must water ourselves. All right. If we're going to live to see another day, we need to hydrate. Make sure you eat. I'm telling you this because I'm telling myself this. I'm really excited. I want to express gratitude for you all affording me the opportunity to do this, and I can't wait to see you come back home. Please consider attending our town hall on Saturday. There's a Facebook event for it, so go to the Facebook link. It's on Saturday. It may be on the move. I'm just letting y'all know we may be on the move while we're doing the town hall, but we're doing it no matter what. I don't know how long I'll be working on Saturday, but I'm sure I will be out by 6. Actually, I'm saying that, but I'm hopeful that we'll be done by then. If not, we'll definitely let you know, and it's going to happen whether I'm there or not. So we're so grateful for you all. And I hope that you are able to make it a great day. Until next time, I'm Jackie Glass, Mama, Navy vet, certified doer, just like you, getting up here early in the morning, and your delegate, the laced up legislator, and we're going to go do some good stuff and things. I'll see you guys on Saturday. All right. Take care. You're welcome, Charlene. I appreciate you. Thank you. You're welcome. Make it a great one.